Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are doing the September monthly bullet journal setup, and this month, because it is September and we're getting close to fall and just all of the great smells and foods that come with fall, I decided that I wanted to start my September monthly spread with a wreath. And I know some of you guys are not ready for pumpkins and all of that stuff, but I just, something came over me and I had to do it. So I went ahead and outlined this wreath in pencil, and then have gone back in with my Tombow Dual Brush Pens and colored it in. I took some of the pens and just sketched them out, or just used them on a piece of paper to see what colors really matched with the theme that I was wanting to, so I didn't use a pen that was like bright green, and found these. I think that they ended up working pretty well together. Once I had everything sort of colored in with my Tombow Dual Brush Pens, and as you can see, I tried to do some shading on my pumpkins. I am not a master at Tombows. I probably should do some more YouTube watching on how to use them, but I can do a little bit. And so after I was satisfied with the coloration, I decided I wanted to go back in and actually outline everything in sort of a sketchy way. And so after everything was colored, I used one of my Pentel Uniball fine liners, a really, really thin one. I think it was like 0.01 or 0.1, to go ahead and just outline everything in a really sketchy manner. I didn't want it to be exactly right along the edges like you would see in a Kiwi drawing, anything really thick, just something to give it a little bit more distinction other than that. And then the last thing I did was going through and writing in September in the middle of my wreath with my Tombow Fudenoseki brush pen. And I think I really like the way that this turned out, and it got a little bit squished there at the end with my September, but I like the way that it looks. The next page in my monthly setup is going to be my goals review, and I had been meaning to do this a while back, but time just got away from me, and so I'm putting it in this one. I'm just going to do the setup, and I'll go back in later and actually fill it in. I won't make you guys watch that. So the next page is going to be my monthly bullet journal setup. So the actual setup for the month, and I decided to stick with that block layer layout, and as you can see, for some reason I just decided I was going to stop at like 3 weeks. I thought I was going to skip a whole week in September, but finally realized my mistake and went back down and added that other line down at the bottom. Originally I thought I was going to put in my bills just like I did last month into the actual boxes of the month, and keep track of them that way, but I ended up having this space left up top, and so I decided to just utilize that because I didn't really want to put that many pumpkin doodles and just spend that much time on doodling. So I just utilized it that way, which leaves the month open for more writing into the boxes. So we'll see. I may continue or go back to putting those in there because it does kind of give something to the setup. I was going to do a drop shadow with this sort of maroon color, but once I did it on both the side and the bottom, it kind of just took up all of the space, so I just decided to do sort of like this crisscross background with it. The last thing that I did here was writing in that, well, not the last thing, but the other thing I did here was writing in that month of September, and I did it in this sort of block style layout. So I went ahead and wrote it out in pencil, so that I kind of knew what I was going for, and then just using the Tombow Dual Brush Pen, I went in and colored in that box and then outlined it with my Faber-Castell fine liner pen, excuse me there, and then just putting in a couple little leaf doodles here, which I outlined, and I really like the way that this looks, this header, and so you will see that I use this several more times within my bullet journal. And then, right, like I said, just putting in my bills and my savings goals. I'm going to do my chores maybe a little bit different. I hadn't quite decided, and so I haven't decided where I'm going to put those in this month. I may, as I do them, put them on the dates that I did them. And then the last thing, just going through here and writing in the days of the week, nothing fancy. So the next page, as I said, I really liked the way that header looked, and so I decided to do my habit tracker in the same manner. This time I just used that Tombow Dual Brush Pen instead of making it a monochrome color like I did in September. I found that if I dragged from the top to the bottom, that oftentimes I would use less ink by the time that I got to the bottom, and so I used that to give this sort of ombre effect to my header, and I really like it. I think this is my favorite page in the whole bullet journal setup, because I also doodle in these little acorns, and I think it has kind of this comic book style feel to it. Like, I feel like you would see it in some sort of, I don't know, Dick Tracy comic or something, just the way the letters are. And then just using my Tombow Dual Brush Pens to color that in. And for the white part, I used my Uniball Signo white gel pen. And sorry it didn't, my computer just quit or my camera quit recording, so but they ended up looking pretty cool. So the rest of the bullet journal is or the rest of the habit tracker is set up pretty similar as to last month. I'm just using a little bit more coloration to it. I'm not tracking as many things like last time. I had my bills in there and everything, and so I'm just using it just for the very minimal stuff. This next page that I'm setting up here is my meal spread and my sleep tracker. So as you can see, I have totally revamped this. I just found that the sleep tracker with all of the numbers was a little bit too quantitative. I thought I was really gonna like that because I do like numbers and it being so precise, but what I found was it just was too much to look at. It was like a seizure chart for me. So I have switched it up to this sleep tracker, and what I'm doing here is I'll have my days of the week on the left hand side and then the number of hours that I sleep across the top, and I'll just block those in. And then for my meals, I just felt like I was using too much room for that. I didn't need that much space, so I've made it a little bit smaller. And I love the little fox guy at the top just peeking over looking at us. Similar sort of style for my brain dump page, going back to just calling it a brain dump instead of an idea page, but I just thought the lettering looked pretty cool that way. So that is my bullet journal for September. We'll flip back to the month of August and my spread here. So as you can see, it worked out pretty well. I feel like I wrote a little more in that month. My habit tracker, which I still feel like I just have a lot, and I took out the lithops, and I'm going to put that into my monthly spread, my monthly calendar, rather than having it in that habit tracker. My meal plan, and as you can see, I haven't been as well at filling it out this month, and I almost took it out completely, but I decided I had that little box and I would just still stick it in. And as you can see, this just got the box I thought that was going to help me with saying 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep. It actually just seemed a little bit more difficult. Then my idea page, where I just have been looking at some iPad stuff, my setup for August, and then this page is just a quilt block that I found that I'm thinking about trying, and so I just wanted to doodle it into my bullet journal. And then last but not least, we'll have our flip through of September. So starting off, just showing the wreath, my goals review page, the monthly spread of September, which I do really like the way that this looks and just the colors. It's just very fall, and I think it just gives a little color pop. And just to show you what I was talking about, so the drop shadow is in August. I only did on the sides and I didn't do on the boxes. So if you're looking just for a drop shadow, maybe just do the sides and not the bottoms if you don't want it to look just more like a grid. Then the habit tracker page, which, as I said, is definitely my favorite page, I think, even though I love the little fox, but I just love the way that it has this comic book style feel to it. It has the little acorns, It just, all of that, it looks really cool, just neat and clean. And then lastly, these 2 pages. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this, and don't forget to subscribe and like, comment below. And as always, I hope that you guys have a great day and happy planning.